guests of the international section of the 53rd IFFI. So first, just to introduce the guests that we have on the dais. First, I'll start. They are representing 3 films of the international section. The first film is My Love Affair with Marriage, and it's an animation, and we have Miss Signe Baume, and the producer, she is the director, and also she has written the screenplay, and we have Mr. Sturgis Warner. He is the producer of the film. Then we have the second film is The Island of Lost Girls. We have Miss Anne Mary, who's the producer of this film.
And director.
And Brian Schmidt is the producer and she's the director. And the 3 lovely girls that we have, can you just stand and face them? We should have a clap for them. So the one to the right, she is Avila. Then Autumn, this one, and in the center we had Scarlett with one single T, she says.
Which part of the world they belong?
They are from US. Welcome all of you. And then we have the third film is The Beautiful Beings, and we are here. We have the Anton Manny Swanson. He is the producer. Welcome, Anton. And it's we'll deal one by one with the 3 films. We'll start with My Love Affair with Marriage. Though, as I said, we couldn't see it, but many of our guests, they might have seen the movie. So it's an animation, and it's about Zelma, who, in fact, we were just interacting. She was saying it's a representation of her real life after a second marriage. And the fairy tales which all of us hear, and even in their part of the world, that love would solve all her problems as long as she abided by the societal expectations of how her girl should act as she grows older. And then how the film goes about, I think we should hear from them. A brief introduction about the director and the producer. Signe has made 17 award-winning animated shorts, but is best known for her first animated feature, Rocks in My Pockets, which premiered at the Karlovy Vary. Signe's new animated feature, My Love Affair with Marriage, fuses animation with music, theatre, science, photography, 3D sets, and traditional hand-drawn animation. In fact, the production itself has been an interesting process. So first, we come to you. As what was the main thought behind it? You can use that mic, please.
Go ahead. So, does it work? This one? Yeah. Okay. So I started the film, writing the screenplay in September 2015, a long time ago. So it took 7 years to make this film. What inspired me, or what provoked the process of writing the screenplay, I wanted to write a story about my second marriage. I was married to a gender-bending man from Sweden, and I thought it was an interesting story, very dramatic story. The secrets were held, and truth was not told. And we had also dramatic misunderstanding between the cultures. I was coming from Eastern Europe, that just was from Latvia, that was just released from the grips of Soviet Union, and he was of Sweden, and so we couldn't understand each other on many practical levels. But what destroyed our marriage was actually the secret that he was holding. And but I was interested in a question, and I started writing the screenplay: why did we want to marry? And then I started to ask this question: why do we fall in love? And so then I wanted to get to the bottom of what is actually what is love, and I thought that I could use science as a tool to as a tool of this like objectivity to find out what is love, because love is such subjective feeling, and it's like I call it most overhyped human emotion. And so I wanted to bring some kind of level, some kind of objectivity, some kind of truth to this very subjective feeling. But the story turned out to be more complicated and more layered than I imagined when I started it. So that is basically what is inspired the story. It is inspired by my personal life and based on some facts, but it's a fictional story. So.
And a few words about the technique.
The way how we made this film was we built three-dimensional sets, with like rooms and hallways, and then we lit them up and then took stop-motion photographs in stop-motion sequences or just still photographs. And then I would take the pictures, the printouts of these photographs, and I would do animation on top. The characters would move through the rooms, in and out. And then we color it in Photoshop, and then we combine it in After Effects, and then I edit the movies together. The process is very laborious. It was about 60,000 drawings to make this film, which is a lot of drawings. I was the animator who animated majority of it. We had another animator, Yajun Shi, who animated just the biology parts. But 90 minutes I animated, and she animated about 13 minutes. So, and there like also political map animation.
Few words from Mr. Warner.
A lot of different, and my job was to support her in any way I could on a lot of different fronts, to try to help make all the departments of the film just as good as they could possibly be, to raise money for 7 years, this was produced independently. We had 1,685 people put in money to help back this film. And every one of them is listed in the credits, in the final credits. But my job was to support her and to help make sure that everything was going as smoothly as possible.
Thank you. Now we move to the second film, The Island of Lost Girls. So few words about the movie. It's about 3 young girls who are sitting here with us. They get trapped in a sea cave with crashing waves, hundreds of sea lions, and giant elephant seals. It has been shot on location in the sea caves of Baja, Mexico. This is one of the most jaw-dropping, tension-filled movies. The 3 young actresses perform their own stunts. In fact, I was hearing them. They were saying that the location was very near to their home where they stay. So it wasn't very difficult for them, but we'll hear from them also. And now we move to you. How was your experience as a director? Because it's a real family, shooting with your own kids. So how was the experience?
It was quite interesting, just working with children in general. But dealing with kids and animals and water are some of the hardest things to deal with, and that was what we had in our film. Thank you. We have actually, those 3 girls are our children, and we also had 3 boys right afterwards. So filming with a baby in a backpack, and this is our film crew right here. We really didn't have any funds to hire many people, and so we really did this whole film just my husband and I. And when I got pregnant, we hired our friend who did some cinematography for us too, which was really helpful. But it was not glamorous at all. It was a lot of work, carrying film equipment down steep cliffs and taking little boats out to this island off of Mexico with all of our children, and 2 or 3 other kids in tow, telling them to be quiet because we're filming,
But yeah, we spent a lot of time in sea caves, swimming in and out, and with the different animals. And
that was our normal life.
And we just thought it was kind of a unique experience, and we just wanted to try to create something that we could share with the rest of the world, to kind of share something we think is really magical, and we thought the rest of the world would really enjoy it.
Yeah, we took our kids' capabilities and we put them in a movie.
And also it was shot pre-COVID,
Yes.
and then you did the post-production during COVID.
Yes.
So what was the experience during those days?
We actually we're just finishing up our post-production right before COVID started. So if we had gotten it done just 6 months earlier, it'd been great, and we would have released it, gone to all the film festivals. But because COVID happened and all the film festivals shut down, one of the joys of making a movie is getting a chance to travel around the world and show it to different audiences. And we wanted to make sure our girls got a chance to do that. So we just kind of sat on the film and waited until, COVID was ending or over, so that they would get a chance to, come and meet these wonderful cultures and great film festivals.
We're so thankful that the film festival chose our film. It is such an honor to be here.
And Avila is the oldest. In fact, she was just 6 years old when she was shooting.
No, she was about 10. Scarlett was 4, and Autumn was about 6. Yeah. They did a good job. They worked really hard. And when you don't see them on the camera, they're maybe behind the camera working the film equipment also. We all really cared about this movie. Yeah.
And if you see it too, they all perform their own stunts, jumping off a cliff, swimming deep underneath these sea caves. And so it was something that we worked on slowly to make sure that we could safely do it and that we didn't have to get rid of any of the kids.
Before we go ahead with the questions, the third film
Yes.
is represented here by The Beautiful Things. He is the producer Anton Marie Svensson. And just few words about this film. It's about a boy called Adi, raised by a clairvoyant mother, decides to adopt a bullied misfit into his gang of outsiders. Left to their own devices, the boys explore aggression and violence, but also learn about loyalty and love. As their behavior escalates towards life-threatening situations, he begins to experience a series of dreamlike visions. So we'll now ask you more about the film. How has been your experience?
First of all, I would love to see your trailer. Like, is it possible to?
Do you have a trailer? Poster. We have a poster.
Do they have internet? We can look it on it.
Oh, if you get the internet, we could bring up the.
This is about the lost.
If you guys have access to the internet, we could look up the trailer.
But is the trailer on Vimeo or YouTube?
It's on YouTube. If you
You have
can.
YouTube? Okay.
No, first the other film. Can we first look at the other trailer for their film?
Don't worry about it. We do have a trailer on YouTube.
On YouTube. If you type in Island of Lost Girls trailer, it should be the first thing to pop up. Thank you.
Just Google Island of Lost Girls and
Yeah.
in a YouTube.
Yeah, Anton, you can tell more about the movie.
Yeah, what should I say? Yeah, so I'm the producer of the film. It was all shot in Iceland, but it's an Icelandic, Danish, Swedish, Netherlands, Czech Republic co-production. It was shot in 2020. We've been working on it since the director's first feature film, Heartstone, 2016, which premiered in Venice. This one premiered in Berlinale this year. And I've been working with this director for 15 years. So we grew up kind of together with films. And it's based on it's inspired by his childhood. So all these characters are, based on real characters and real stories from our growing up from like 1999 in Reykjavik, the capital of Iceland. Yeah, and so it's a very, very personal, and we spent a lot of time working on like building up this working method with young kids. So we've been working with young actors that have, or kids that are not actors, but like training them for many, many months, like put them into acting camps for 8 months or something. and that we did also for the first film. So that's, yeah, so we've been doing that since our first short film, Whale Wally, in 2013. So that's, yeah, like a long time process doing this.
Is it also a reflection of how you grew up with your friend?
Yes, except I was not in this violent group of boys. My friend had a short period where he was in this violent group of boys, but I did not do that. But another thing is important, like in this film, is the Icelandic title is Berdreimi, and that word means dreaming or seeing things before they happen, and that's something that's very common in Iceland. And a lot of people connect with that and have had some kind of dreaming or seeing of things before they happen. So that's inspired by his youth also, and his mother, who was often seeing things and having a strong, gut feeling and going with that. So that's what kind of helps the character go through difficult times and try to find a more good path, to not go down the slippery slope of violence into something more bad.
And loyalty and love are the eternal feelings.
Loyalty and love. What? Sorry.
Much better than the violence and aggression
Exactly.
that you are protecting.
Exactly. But there is a lot of fear. Even though they express themselves with some violence, there is a lot of
There is a lot of
loyalty and love. And you can see in the film that the main character, he takes this bully victim under his arms and starts protecting him, and that character kind of helps him see the light, and so he starts changing his ways because he doesn't like this way. But the thing is, like, his best friend uses a lot of violence, but he's still a good boy. He's just in a bad place.
Okay. Are we ready with the? Yes. We are ready with the trailers. It's beautiful. The third movie? Yeah, stop. Beautiful beings.
Samkvæmt skýrslum lögreglu hefur ofbeldi meðal ungmenna verið vaxandi vandamál á Íslandi. Vitum við raunverulega hvað í gangi í lífi barnanna okkar? Hei, sækja á þessu. Þetta í grunni sjónhús var ráðist á. Sjá þetta greið. Hver eru þeir? Þeir eru vinni. Er ég alltaf læg? Ég líður bara ekki vel. Ég líður ekki vel. Mamma, hvað komstu til mér í draumi í nótt? Mér líður eins og það sé eitthvað vont að bara gerast. Svenni kom aftur heim. Er hann að gera eitthvað við þig eða systir? Ertu skygg? Samt ekki okkar til að hafa áhrif á. Ég reyndi alltaf vini mína. Ég tók risastór örn og tók mig á loft. Einu sinni dreymdi mig að ég var með vini mínu.
I think before everyone would agree, before we go ahead with the question answer session, one sentence each from the pretty girls. Avila? Yeah. Mike. So how was it like shooting with your sisters and also with your mom and dad?
I really liked it because I was able to just like talk to them and not be pressured that like if I say something wrong, like a wrong line, that I'll get yelled at. Like they would be fine with it and like it wouldn't be super stressful. So I liked it.
Very nice. Autumn?
So it was really fun. Like she said, we can make up our own lines kinda, and like we didn't really have to say the lines, and it was like really fun, cause like we would make up the script kinda, like we would help out filming and doing all that, and like it was just really fun and entertaining.
Very nice. And Scarlett with single T. Yes.
It was really fun filming with my sisters, my family, because they wouldn't be like mean to you. It was fun.
Great. Let's clap for these girls. So now we can have the questions, please.
Hello. Welcome to Indian Film Festival, and I'm based in Bombay. I'm an actor director, and I have seen your wonderful promos, and I would like to request all of you, the international delegates, can we collaborate with Indian filmmakers and aspiring actor directors to make a better cinema in future as well as today also. I have a completed film, Lal Pahad, The Missing Files. It's an independent film, and I'd like to share the every aspect of the film, details of the film, so that we can collaborate. India, US can collaborate for better cinema. What do you suggest?
What do you say on more collaboration with Indian
Taking
cinema
this
if you
opportunity
want to have?
in IFFI.
Maybe you can start, Signe.
Yeah, you can start.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, we watch a lot of Bollywood films at home, and I already think
Yeah.
Bollywood movies are pretty amazing.
Even your films can be dubbed in Indian language, and it can be released in across India, across Asian countries. And in the same way, our films can be dubbed in for meta marketing. It can be released in US also. So there are certain rare aspects of the film. There are certain rare subjects also which are promoted through IFFI. So taking this opportunity of IFFI 53rd, we welcome you, and we expect that we should collaborate for better cinema.
Oh, thank you. I mean, we'd love to collaborate. I mean, we would love nothing more than to be able to release our film in India so that more people across India and the rest of Asia could get a chance to see it. And right now, I feel like, at least in the last 10 years of our lives, in the United States, we've had more and more Indian films being released, especially
great.
through Netflix. And it's a great opportunity just to be able to get a chance to experience like a wider, breadth of culture and get to
That's
see
wonderful.
these things.
Yeah. Anyone?
Signet, on more collaboration.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. I do like you. I really appreciate Indian cinema, and when I was young and I grew up in Soviet Union, I watched a lot of Indian films, and I just loved this dance and song and this spectacle and the amazing stories that Indian filmmakers are able to make. But there's interesting thing that for me, I would like to see to come from Indian cinema is more personal stories, not just the spectacle and dancing and singing, but also like coming from individual experience. What does it mean to be an Indian woman? What does it mean to be an Indian man? What does it mean to be an Indian child? I want to hear these stories, and I think more we have stories like that. I think that it's, I do believe in collaboration, and I believe in individual stories, power of the individual stories.
Anton, do you think, Anton, the festivals like this, they give you an opportunity to interact with filmmakers of all the world over? What
Yes,
are your...
no, definitely. I think it's great and it's very important. But I think it's super important, these festivals. I can hear when I talk to the locals that they love it, that they like to, because otherwise they would never see all these films from around the world. But I think that's true what he's saying also, that it would be good if we could dub them and make them more available to the public. So it's not only through the festival, but it's also being able to distribute it wider. And of course that goes both ways. It would be great to also see more of Indian cinema, in our countries, because it's difficult for me to see Indian cinema in Iceland. So great if we can make it more available.
We can communicate, sir.
And Brian, how about like OTT has become a platform where you can see films from all over the world. So do you have any plans to put it on the OTT?
Yeah, actually.
I mean, we're talking to a few different distributors. We haven't talked to any in India, but we'd love to if anyone are interested. But I mean, just to show how much my oldest daughter, her favorite film is Om Shanti Om, and she's always trying to tell everyone about it and trying to get them to watch it.
Yeah.
And what about you, Mr. Wani? The availability on the OTT platforms so that you get more and more audiences?
Yeah, distribution is difficult. It's not always under our control. We want our film to be seen by as many people, as many cultures as possible. And we do all we can to get it out there. We certainly welcome other cultures to be represented in the US. But personally, we're creating films and we're not the distributors, so we're not making those. We're not in the position to fight those kinds of battles, except for, as you said, we believe strongly in the personal story and in getting as many personal stories out there as possible. And me personally, I see kind of one kind of story around the world is dominant, and that's, you know, the action adventure and the wars, and is the world going to blow up, and you know, and which is all fine, nothing against that, but the personal stories and the independent voices that are being done by individuals as opposed to corporations, that's what I'd like to see more of from everybody.
Yeah, yes, please.
Hello. First of all, I would like to welcome you all to our country, India. And my question will be for Signe. Would you like your film to be get labeled as a feminist movie? Because the narrative is, it is surrounded to a female narration. So would you like to get it labeled? And what you will suggest through this film, that is the our society is shaping the what the girl should think, and what the girl should probably wear, or how the girl should carry herself, and there is a change through the time in this narration, what society is saying.
Thank you for the question. The first question that you had was if I would like to label my film as feminist. And the word feminist is a loaded word, and a lot of people, when they hear word feminist, they grab a knife and start stabbing around, because it's a very kind of word that upsets a lot of people. And for me, it's like, what is feminism? You know, if we believe in equality between genders and people, and that we believe that we women are politically, socially, and economically should be equal with men, and if you believe in that, then I'm a feminist. The thing is that when I wrote the story and I told the story, I was not thinking about politics. I was just telling my personal story, but it became political. And it became political because me just existing, just being a woman, telling my story, that very act is political. Because there's so many political forces trying to define me. They're trying to, the way how I am dressed, it's being discussed. Am I covered up? Am I have a shoulder open? Do I have short skirt? Do I have long skirt? What do I wear? Everything that I do is politicized because I'm a woman. And that is really kind of, I cannot exist outside it. So the moment I tell my story, it's a political act. So yes, I mean, I'm not like happy or not happy if my film is feminist or not. I don't even have to, I don't choose it. I think that just me telling this story is a feministic act. You know, that is how it is in this world. As for the other part of the question, if society is the one that determines how women should be, how girls should grow up, and how, what are we, you know. So in my film, I am exploring the space. So there are these forces that any individual, man or a woman, has to live. It is between our biology, our biological makeup. We live in a biological reality. Like we have, you know, this reality we cannot escape. And then there are societal pressures. The society tells us, to men and to women, it tells you, this is how men are, this is how women are. In my story, because it's a female story, I'm telling what the society is telling me how I should be. And so as an individual, you have to live between these two unforgiving forces. And the only way you can do, like, what you can push back a little bit biology, push back society, but you have to make the best life you can for yourself between these forces. And that was what interested me in this film, like exploring that narrow space that as individual you are allowed. But I do not believe in biological determinism. I believe that we are free. We are free to make our choices. With our limitations that are given to us, we're making choices. And I think that the choices we make today will make the tomorrow. I believe that we can change society. We can make it more forgiving space. And my film, in the end, ultimately, calls for more tolerant society, for more forgiving society, for society that could see a person who is different, who doesn't comply to all these rigid rules. It would allow that person thrive and be part of society. But I do believe that if we do have more stories like this from women, from people who are different, that the change is possible. Like, I believe the change is possible. Did that answer your question?
As you said, we all are hoping for more progressive society.
Yeah.
Yeah, my question is to you yourself, Sene Bowman. I think there's one dialogue in the film says that if you love your husband more than your children, you will be all right. It's not from your film?
No, it was opposite.
Oh, right, exactly. Yeah. It was a slip of the mind. Do you believe in this statement?
No,
First of all,
you haven't seen the film.
Yeah, that's okay.
No, it is. You saw just the trailer.
Right.
And it's when you see the whole film, you understand it's part of the like something else. You know, this line has a humor in it. It is a part of a song. The mother, when her daughter experiences menarche, which is the first menstruation, she comes in a room and tells the girl how she should be, how she should marry well, and there would be a lot of problems, but if you love your children more than your husband, you'll be okay. And it is it's a little bit like a parody or sarcasm on like advice that women get from our mothers. So that line is part of that. It's not a statement I believe it or not. I'm just saying it's one of the characters says that in the film.
So you disapprove of that statement?
No, I don't approve or disapprove. It's part of the story. It's one character that comes in and tells another character how to live a happy life. It's an advice that I heard, you heard.
Yes, this side.
Thank you.
My question is for Anne-Marie and Brian. Island of Lost Girls was shot on location, on live location. Did that make it harder or easier? Were there challenges or was that easier to shoot it there?
I think building a set to do the things that we did was almost impossible, and it would have been so much work. And we really had all those things around us. So you really kind of just saw where we live, all the time. But it was, we just took what our story had in it and found those spots. And that was the challenge, is just finding the locations.
Yeah, we definitely spent like a lot of time location scouting to find the exact right environment, but God is a great set designer. And he came up with some great stuff. And I'd say the big difficulty is just we had to look at tide schedules and how big the waves were going to be that day. So it was a lot of working around those factors to try to be able to film safely with the kids to make sure we could get something both great looking and that it was safe to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I always loved shooting on location. Like the more, the better.
I think the hardest thing though is dealing with like the timing and the natural light that you have, because, you know, one scene might be a darker scene, or you might be losing light in the day, and then you have to adjust all that in post-production or reshoot it. And we have reshot so much just to make sure the light was.
Yeah, because the sea lions weren't always working with us, and they would like be in one location one day, be in an entirely different spot.
Yeah.
And there was even one time when we're shooting in the water, and the girls started screaming, and I had no idea what was up, and I thought they were just complaining that the water was too cold, but the water had been completely filled with like
Tuna
these things called tuna crabs,
Yeah.
but there were like hundreds of thousands of them, and they were all nipping and biting at the girls.
Yeah.
And you know, you're just not expecting.
And so he says, "What are you crying about? What's wrong?" They're like, "The water." And so he jumps in just to see, and he's like, "Ah," you know.
Yeah, they're just
So
nipping at me.
They just like washed up on shore. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of different adventures we found with dealing with like the natural sets.
Yeah, and obviously with an elephant seal, there's no way we're going to be able to bring an elephant seal, you know,
Yeah.
onto a soundstage.
So, I mean, to answer your question, like whether it's easier or not, I think if you find the right locations, it's easier because they're there and you don't have to build it. But I think that with some scenes and sets, it's easier because then you can light it up. So there's just so many different variables for each one. I don't know which one's easier sometimes, you know?
Okay, let's
Is that a terrible answer?
I would like to know, Anne, ma'am, who was more dominating, a mother in you or a director in you when you are on site shooting?
Are you asking who was directing the most, or what is she asking?
I would like to know
Oh, are
who
you
was
directing
more
or mothering?
dominating, a mother in
Oh.
you or a director in you when you are
Well-
when you are shooting on the site.
I'd say what we would do is we would go to the location knowing what we needed to shoot. We would tell the kids, you know, this is what we have to get done. I think it was almost equal because, you know, the kids, they're kids. They're siblings too, which makes it worse. And so they would maybe, you know, be arguing with each other or not getting along, and I'd have to mother them. And then I'd go into, oh wait, did we shoot the right thing? So we'd look at the film to make sure everything was okay. And, you know, it was almost like I had to step away from mothering to look at it as an art project and a storytelling situation. And we actually collaborated a lot because I worked with Brian on a first film that he directed, and I helped produce that one. But then this one was kind of a story that I had come up with because I had been reading a book called The Island called Island of Blue Dolphins. And it was about a young girl who lived and survived when her family left her on an island. And it's actually based on a true story. But I kind of came up with this story and we worked together. So we co-directed, co-produced, everything. But I did come up with this story.
You know, one thing that's nice about working with your own children versus like if we had child actors is that when they're being difficult, like we know, like, you know, are they
Oh yeah, this helps, yeah.
well, like, are they misbehaving, or is it like have they really just had enough and they're tired for the day? And so it's nice when they're your own kids and you can tell,
You know
like,
their personalities.
yeah, and you can be like, all right, we're good for today, we can just come back another time. Or, you know, you could be like, you know, okay, you guys gotta start behaving.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be their parents and which I imagine it's a little bit more difficult when you hire actors and you just don't know, are they just being difficult actors?
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I do think our kids were all great. I love them all.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my question is to the elder of the two Smith daughters. Your names?
It's Avila, Autumn, and Scarlet.
Avila and
Autumn.
Are the two older
Autumn.
ones?
Yeah.
Autumn. They are the two elder ones, right?
Yes.
So I think both of them made a similar kind of a statement. You said that it was good good to be confident that you will not be yelled at for being who you are while acting in the film. Am I right? Yeah. So it makes me wonder whether, I mean, is it only while acting in the film that you feel that liberty, or you don't have that liberty otherwise?
What was that?
Which he's saying, like, do you not feel that liberty otherwise?
Make it easy for the girl.
I mean,
Like you're comparing it versus working.
What I'm
with-
asking is, yeah, sorry. you were saying.
Well, I was just saying, he's trying to ask, like, do you not feel that liberty otherwise? Because you're more describing it as if you worked for someone else, right?
Well, I mean, I've never worked for anyone else, but just from like what I've seen and like what I've heard, like it would be hard because like with us, we're able to just like film when we want, where we want, and I don't know if I wouldn't like that necessarily. So like if someone was telling me what to do, they tell me what to do, but I can like talk to them about it. But if like there's a different director that like I'm not related to telling me to do stuff, like I have to do it even if I don't want to. Like,
thank you, I got that. So basically that relates to the second question which I have is that when your kids were very relatively young, right? When you shot the film. So before you set out getting into the shooting of the film, did you discuss with them and were all of you on board regarding the fundamental form and purpose of the film?
So we are.
And just a second. And how difficult or easy it was to bring them on board with the fundamental mission of the film and the approach which you wanted to take towards shooting it.
Well, like I said, I was reading this book to them every night, and so we talked about like this would be a great story. Are you sure you guys would like to do this? And they said yes, and I kept asking him over like weeks, like, are you sure you knew? Because they watched how hard it was to film our first movie, and they knew what it took, and so I don't feel like they were unaware. They knew what they were getting into.
Well, I think they somewhat had a rough idea.
Yeah, I mean, they're kids.
We did know because I remember one specific day they were asking us over and over again, like, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure? And we were like, yeah, we want to do it. And yeah, I don't know, like we wanted to do it. And they made sure we wanted to.
And they also said they want to do a sequel, so, we'll see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My question is, how much time did it take for you to make this film? And your kids are probably studying, so how did you manage to combine both together and still get your film across?
Well, I feel like, so the kids did go to school, and so we would take them out after school and have the day at the beach, and it was a lot of fun doing that, and then trying to film mostly in the summer was what we tried to do too, because they had school off. That made it easier. But
And the other question was, how much time did it take you?
I think that we filmed for like a year and a half.
Yeah, it was
probably
about a year and a half, and there was definitely some stuff that later on after editing we realized we needed a few shots to make certain scenes work. And we're always like a little bit nervous, like, does she look a little bit too old for this shot? But for the most part, I think it works. But to us as parents, there's still like a shot here or a shot there that like
we're like, she looks a little older there, but no one else really notices. It's just when you make your own project, you see all your own flaws, But it was about a year and a half, and then a year or two of post-production. Would you say?
Yeah, probably about that much.
He actually was editing it during the process to make sure we got everything we needed to, because our first film had children in it, and so we realized that you've got to edit right away, just to make sure they don't grow up and don't look the same. So we did that. We hired someone to do the score for the film, so she was working on the music right after editing. It was maybe a rough version, wasn't completely set in stone, and then he does special effects. This guy is like one-stop shop. He like does special effects also, and and sound design. A year and a half or 2 years after the film was already done, shot.
But it's definitely with kids. It's always that challenge to try to
go
shoot
quick.
Yeah.
So it's more like a wildlife film. So did y'all have any problems, swimming around? Because where there are seals, there are sharks. you all face any problems, any incidents that you all can
Nope.
recall now?
Well, there were the tuna crabs, but
No, I mean, really, no, because this place that we go to is like, for the sea lions, they are kind of protected in a cove. And there are sharks, but it's like, there's like a cove, and then like within there's almost like another cove.
And
so
even
it
the
seems,
the
so it's kind
sharks
of like
that
their
we-
safe spot.
yeah, and the sharks that we have generally are called leopard sharks, and are ones you don't have to really worry about.
The great whites and the big ones that could bite you would be maybe on the outside of this cove area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And statistically, you're very unlikely to get attacked by a shark because we really are in the ocean.
Yeah. Our
like
girls
5 days out of the week.
They surf, they snowboard, they do all sorts of stuff. So this is kind of like our daily life is going to the beach and swimming in the water with the sea lions and everything.
Anton, you worked with the boys and you trained them also. So could you get those feelings out which you wanted?
What about the training?
And could you get those feelings of aggression, violence, and also of love from those kids?
Yeah. Yes, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's in Iceland we don't have many child actors, so we had like a open casting. So we had like 1,000 kids coming, and for the casting, and then we select a few and a few more, and it's a long process. And then it's the most important is selecting the right kids. And then it's we do like we put them into like an acting school for a long time. So we have a acting coach, and we have an intimacy coach, and we have a fighting coach, stunt coach, and it's a long process. And then we have like a nanny for them during the shooting. So it's difficult, and we think we train them like it's a football tournament, like it's a soccer tournament, so it's training for many months to make them have the stamina, and also like, are you really sure that you want to do this? Because one time we had the problem that somebody just was like, I don't want to do this, it's not fun, and then we need to know before we start shooting, because we can't back out, then it's too late. So that's why it's so important that we have this long time for them to know, like, do we really want to do this? And in the end, they become great friends, and they love to do it, and they become this kind of, they know how to work, and then they are ready for this extensive shoot. It's like 10-hour days of shoot, 10-hour days, and 46 days. So it's like it's a hectic. So it's like going to a soccer tournament, and you have to be very trained. So it's good that we select kids that have already experience with sports, so they're used to like working a lot and working hard, because it is a lot of work. But I also have experience with working with kids of the director. And that's much easier in many ways, and especially if you can work with them only 2, 3, 4 hours per day instead of needing to work for like 10 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually had, like, for the most part, I was saying that we kept it short, but there were like a few locations we went to that we had to do those 12-hour days, and it was just grueling and just definitely a lot harder on the kids. And so it was just much nicer to go back to the shorter.
Yeah, I'll say this, I wouldn't want to do what he did with other people's children. It's just too, it's too.
And by the way, in that also, we are not only casting the kids, we're also casting the parents.
Yeah.
Because we needed to find good parents that were supportive. So that was super important. So we had meetings with the parents, and I was in constant dialogue with the parents, and allowing them also, of course, to come on set and see what we're doing and go through all the difficult stuff, so everybody is secure. And so that's super important as well. So they're a part of the process. And it's nice today, like the parents and the kids are traveling the world with the film, and they're all super happy. So it's nice. It's like, and everybody has become a big family of friends. It's very nice. But it wouldn't be possible if they wouldn't be completely supportive.
Yep.
Hello everyone. Welcome to IFFI, welcome to India. My question is to Anton. So, the first film by the director, Hearthstone, that is also a coming-of-age drama, and this is also kind of revisiting the same theme. So, is it like a recurring theme in his works, or is it like an issue in Iceland? Why this theme again and again? This is the second film doing the same on the same subject. So, is this an issue in Iceland, or is it something that he associates to personally? Thank you.
I mean, there's both. Of course, what is happening in the film is an issue and was an issue at that time. But the reason for him doing these films is just that it's easier for him. It's something that he connects to, and because it's interesting times in his life, and he felt like he hadn't seen films that were portraying this in this specific way, because he felt like the adults didn't really understand and didn't really see it the way he saw it. So he wanted to portray a film in a way like how he saw the world when he was a teenager. And Hearthstone is about like 12, 13-year-old boys, so it's a bit more innocent and sweet. But it's inspired by his, when he was living outside in the countryside, and he had a friend there that had some problems. And so he was inspired by that period of his time. And then he was thinking about doing a completely different movie next. But then this movie came to him in a dream. Like he started getting a dream of like these boys in this period of his life. So he ended up following his gut and his dreams. He felt like he needed to tell this story. So it was just that something that was haunting him. And I think like he feels like he's told me, he feels it's more difficult for him to write something about what he's going through today. It's like it's easier for him to go, back to his past instead of. So maybe when he's 60-year-old, then he will make a movie about himself when he was 30. So maybe he's just slowly going up in time. But now he's thinking about doing maybe more of an adventure movie, and exploring more the mythical, like the dream elements, and maybe doing more of an adventure film. And maybe it will be kids, but maybe they will be a little bit older.
That's interesting.
Yeah, my question is to Anton. So you said that through the film, the kids finally end up learning about love and loyalty, right? They learn to finally imbibe love and loyalty. However, do you think, isn't there a tension between love and loyalty? Because love often demands that we question even and especially those who we are the closest to, including oneself. So, would you please share your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's a tricky question. Okay. I mean, because it's connected, but it's also different. And I think like with these boys, they have a lot of loyalty, and there's also a lot of love, but sometimes it becomes dangerous kind of loyalty, and maybe not healthy. Like, and we also ask that question, like, what is, like, what do you say, like, is it a healthy friendship? And it's like, is this kind of friendship better than no friendship? Because it's there's something unhealthy in like being in that kind of, they're being so loyal to one another, and they feel like we are a team, and we need to stick together no matter what. No problem. So it's so for me it's like a real love is like that you have that you show boundaries that you have your own boundaries, and you show the other person also, respect their boundaries. But in this, you can see in this friendship, they're not completely respecting each other's boundaries, but they're figuring it out through the film. So the main character is finding out what is actually important regarding love and loyalty, and how far you should go, and what is healthy and unhealthy in friendship and love. So it's a learning curve.
Okay, so do you mean to thereby say that boundaries will still continue to exist in any relationship, or will in an ideal world will there be no boundaries? Because I understand in a film festival, the purpose of a film festival as well as the purpose of films are also, we often say, to erase boundaries, right?
Race boundaries.
Erase.
Yeah, it's so different. I don't know what to say. Like I'm talking about just human relationship and communication.
Yeah. So let us talk about that only. Will boundaries necessarily exist, or
in regards to what?
In relationships?
In relationships, I think boundaries are one of the most important things in human relationship and communication. To have your clear boundaries and to express them, and to respect the boundaries of others. I think it's just the foundation of like a good life and happiness of people. But I think these boys in the film, they don't know that yet. But what they do is just like, they just think about the loyalty that it's better to have friends, even though it's maybe not the best friends. That's better to have them than nobody, because at least there is somebody that is holding you and taking care of you, and you know, it's good to have that support when you don't have it maybe in your home, and it's better to have some friends than no friends. But it's still, the director wanted to ask that question and explore those kind of friendships, like when you only have these kind of people that are maybe not the best for you, but at that time they are your family. They are the most important people for you at that time in life.
Thank you. Shall I ask one last question, please?
Shall we? To whom?
To him, he himself.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so you also said that the film is about dreamlike illusions. So can you please tell what according to you is the difference between dream and reality, and how does one know whether one is living in dream or reality? Is there a difference between the two?
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's completely different. I mean, it's completely different.
Actually, anyone can answer.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say, because I mean, it's very clear in the film also the difference between the dream and the reality. I think it's more difficult to realize, and how you can interpret your dream and listen to your insight and listen to what you are thinking or seeing, like or feeling. It's more about that you like. There are not all people are receptive or open for understanding and using their dreams. But it's most people are too stuck in reality to use their dreams to their advantage as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So we conclude this session. A very big thank you to all of you, and enjoy your stay in India.